between the 11th and 19th centuries a peculiar and astonishing practice occurred among some Buddhist monks. These monks embarked on a path known as Sokushinbutsu, which involved an incredible feat. They mummified themselves. This practice, deeply rooted in their spiritual beliefs, aimed to bring them closer to enlightenment. Sokushinbutsu was not a simple or quick process. It was a long and arduous journey undertaken by these dedicated monks. They began by gradually reducing their intake of food and water, slowly depriving themselves of sustenance. Over the course of 1,000 days, these monks willingly and deliberately starved themselves to death, all in the pursuit of achieving the ultimate state of enlightenment. The belief that drove these monks to such extreme measures was that by successfully mummifying themselves, they would reach a state of true enlightenment. In their faith, the physical body was seen as a vessel that could be transcended through rigorous discipline and sacrifice. They believed that by enduring the pain and suffering of this process, they would attain a higher spiritual plane. The process of Sokushinbutsu was not a decision taken lightly. It required unwavering commitment, self-control, and immense mental fortitude. The monks believed that through this extreme form of asceticism, they would not only gain spiritual insights but also benefit others by setting an example of dedication and selflessness. The first step in this process was a strict diet regimen. These monks gradually reduced their food intake and switched to a diet mainly consisting of nuts and seeds. By doing so, they aimed to eliminate as much body fat as possible to facilitate the preservation of their remains. They also consumed a special tea made from the sap of the urushi tree, which had the dual purpose of embalming their organs from the inside and preventing decay. After months of this restrictive diet, the monks advanced to an even more severe stage. They would lock themselves inside a small, underground chamber barely large enough for them to sit in. In this dark, cramped space, they would meditate and chant for hours, all while continuing to consume less and less food and water. The goal was to cleanse their bodies and minds while their physical forms slowly wasted away. The final stage of Sokushinbutsu involved complete deprivation of nourishment. The monks would cease eating and drinking altogether, entering a state of fasting. As their bodies weakened, they faced excruciating pain and suffering, yet, they persevered, convinced that this process was the path to enlightenment. The monks were not alone during this grueling journey. They had fellow monks who supported and cared for them, monitoring their progress. These caregivers would check on the mummifying monk daily, making sure they were still alive. If a monk passed away during the process, the caregivers would take specific steps to mummify the body, following a detailed and painstaking procedure. Once a Sokushinbutsu monk had passed away, their remains underwent an intricate preservation process. First, the body was placed in a tomb filled with salt to draw out any remaining moisture. This desiccation process helped prevent decomposition. The monks were typically dressed in ceremonial robes, and their bodies were positioned in a meditative posture, a symbol of their spiritual quest. Over several years, the tomb was sealed, and the body was left to continue its natural mummification. The process was not always successful, and some monks' remains decayed despite their best efforts. However, in cases where successful mummification occurred, the preserved bodies became objects of veneration and were placed in temples for others to pay respects to and seek inspiration from. The practice of Sokushinbutsu, although extreme and harrowing, exemplified the depth of devotion and sacrifice that some individuals were willing to endure in the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. It was a testament to the power of faith and the lengths to which some were willing to go to transcend the limitations of the physical world in their quest for higher understanding. While this practice may seem extreme and difficult to comprehend, it is a testament to the diverse and profound ways in which people seek enlightenment and connection with the spiritual realm.